fantastic because
would take that.
we're about to talk Spider-Man No Way Home. There's been a lot of discussion since that reveal. It doesn't seem like it's died down that much. People are still very hyped for it. And people are hyped for the future of this character because quite clearly Sony is not gonna rip him out of the MCU because Tom Holland was even like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that again because I mean they saw. They saw. They had to go back and be like,
They
fine.
told you.
Yeah,
Every time we've talked about it, I said I bet they're better off now.
I mean, this is it for them, right? Like they have to stick with Disney and Marvel Studios because it benefits everybody. And I've seen a lot of discussion in regards to what happens with Tom Holland as Spider-Man because let's look at what's recently happened because Cherry reviews aren't good.
Oof. Nope.
Chaos Walking even worse.
Yeah.
Uncharted, like he gave a very interesting interview where he was like, yeah, that movie was a little awkward and weird and I don't know how to feel about it and like the quotes he gave were very not hyping it and it's a Sony game to movie, so their track record for that is garbage. So I think more or less Spider-Man is going to be his thing. Like he's not going anywhere.
It's a Chris Hemsworth situation again.
Yeah. Yep.
I think the only person that's kind of got out of it unscathed is Evans.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
Like Knives Out, people love Knives Out.
Oh, it's so
I think
good.
that Apple series he's in, people like that one.
Mm.
He hasn't done much since, but he's like, hey, yeah, he's he's not been trashed on yet.
Exactly.
Robert Downey Jr. had Doolittle. Did very little.
Ooh.
So,
yeah, it's
Cap wins again, I suppose.
and it's also a thing where we like, you look at the track history and like you get to this point where you cast the guy who's in a big box office movie, and then you test their viability in other franchises and you see how they stick. We saw this with Sam Worthington more than anybody. He was in Avatar, and Hollywood was like, this is our next big leading man. He's going to be in the Titans reboot and all this, and 3 years later, after like 9 fails, like it's no-go. So I think Tom Holland as Spider-Man is going to be something where they're going to lock him in for like another 15 years. They're just like, look, you're going to do a Spider-Man movie every year for the next 15 years. Here you go. It's like, yeah, you know what? It's good, secure money. This is my thing. And it's not bad. Like, he is great as Spider-Man.
The worst part is it's not even their fault.
Exactly.
It's like they get attached to movies they're not supposed to be. Like, they're not good for the role.
Mm-hmm.
They're just literally being cast for the name, and that's it.
Yep.
And then they get directed horribly because the script's bad, the director's bad, and it all goes to pot. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's
even though Cherry, I don't know what's gone on now. I had good things before it got completely dumped on, but it's like, oh no.
I mean, it could be a thing where we know that they took a little extra time and there were some reshoots happening and things. So like, we don't know like ultimately what the hell happened with that film, and maybe we'll never know because it's just I don't know. It's an interesting scenario, I want to say. And like, again, when it comes to the future of Spider-Man, we know that Sony's going to do their thing. They're going to be using Tom Holland. Marvel's going to do their thing. They're going to be using him. At some point, there's going to be massive crossovers and things. And I'm just excited by the fact that like we can comfortably go, yeah, this is Spider-Man, right? Like, we don't have to worry, I don't think, about him getting fired. Yes, his contract is going to be up and he's going to take a bit of a break. But I guarantee Sony and Disney will be like, look, if you need a break, we'll give you an extra year. So instead of shooting 6 months after the latest movie, which is what we do every time, how about we give you a year and a half and we take a little bit of a gap stop and you go up here in a couple projects here and then we pick back up. Like, he's very young. Like, he got cast as Spider-Man when he was like 16, 17? Like, oof. That's,
I'm not sure. How old is Tom Holland?
He's got to be like, what, 22 maybe? Maybe 23 at most, I would say.
I was going to say, he's definitely in his 20s. He's 24.
Wow, yeah, so...
So when you get cast 2015,
Yeah.
2016? So 5 years ago, yeah. Wow, he was young, damn.
Yeah, it's...
Damn.
Ah.
I mean, he's locked out for life.
Yep.
Oh, gig. But yeah, he'll be around for a while. And even if something happens, like, account for literally everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because you've got Miles.
Mm-hmm.
You have 1,001 different Spider people you can use. Just do that.
And there is no way that Miles is not coming to the MCU. And it's happening. So it's a thing. It's a legacy character. It's gonna happen. That's literally what Marvel's doing.
I've seen people be like, oh, you can't have Spider-Man being an adult. It's like, yes, you can. He's supposed to be aging. Like,
yeah.
For how many years have people been going on about Spider-Man marrying MJ and having a kid?
Yep.
That's the thing that happens when you like. Yes, it happens when people are younger as well. But like, as you get older, that tends to be the normal thing.
Yeah.
Like, so like, do people want that in the comics but not in the movies? Like, the whole point is you watch these characters grow and have the life experience. You can't just isolate them in, especially in movies. You can't physically stop the aging process.
And that's the thing. If you look back at they're rebooting Spider-Man in that weird year that Andrew Garfield was out and they were clearly rebooting it, but they didn't confirm it. Literally everybody was saying, this is what we want. We want a young Spider-Man, skip over Uncle Ben, have him age so we can see him grow, bring in some of those elements from the comics, have him marry MJ and get a kid and Miles. And now that they're seemingly setting that up, those same people are like, well, why does he have to age? Why can't he just remain young? It's like, come on, like,
It's like half the reason why the MCU works is because there's a clear passage of time.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, the reason why, I say the reason, a lot of why Endgame worked was because of that 5 years later.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, that adds on the impact of what happened in the movie before. Time is a key factor in these properties. And seeing Spider-Man go from the 16-year-old in universe to a 30-plus-year-old, great.
And, again, you're invested because you're watching them. For some of our listeners here, because I see the age. There is about 30% of our listeners who literally were 8 to 10 years old when Iron Man came out. Dude, yeah, right? Them aging along with listening to our podcast and watching the MCU is literally they're formulating years in their brain. Mm-hmm. Like, that's huge. So seeing these characters grow, you get invested. Like, that's part of the investment, right? Like, to me, when I was their age, I was watching like Spider-Man, the original ones. So it's like, it's a bit of a different time, like you. And the MCU has nailed this.
You don't want a 30-year-old in high school.
No, you don't. No,
it's really not what you want. It looks bad.
Can't wait till Tom Holland shows up. What's up, my radical compadres? Tom,
God.
what are you saying? Oh, the fans want me to remain in high school forever. Dude, you got a giant beard. What is this? He's like, I'm 48. Yeah.
So how long did Spider-Man last in high school in the comics? Less than 30 issues.
Yeah.
So,
they formulate the basics and then they get him out of there. Because Stan Lee was like, look, if he's that young, he needs to be here, and then we get him out. So that's the whole point. Yeah. I'm excited for the next chapter of MCU Spider-Man because it's like there's so many stories to tell, so many villains to touch, and so many different characters that he can interact with in a couple of years from now. Like, once the third Spider-Man film is done and we get back to a normal, whatever the new normal is going to be for Spider-Man, there's no way John Watts is doing Fantastic Four without having Spider-Man and Johnny bounce off of one another.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be so good.
I need that dynamic. I don't care if they're too old to do the Ultimate Spider-Man bit, but I just need the three of those.
Yep.
Like Parker, Bobby, and Johnny. I just need those three together.
Oh, this is going to be so good. Could you imagine if that's the next step? Like, My dream project would be, okay, guys, we're doing Disney Plus Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and we're gonna put a couple of these characters living together for 6 episodes, just because it's like, oh, dude, no, that's
perfect.
Too much goodness. So, yeah.
Also, we can have Gwen come in at some point and actually do Gwen.
Yes.
And not kill her off in the second movie, because we only know one plot line with Gwen.
Remember when Sony killed her off in the trailer?
Yeah.
In the goddamn trailer.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Peak Sony, I tell you, but that's a thing.
Let's not kill Gwen off this time.
Yeah, let's do Spider.
Just do Spider-Gwen. Just change Spider-Gwen up a little bit and have her be the main timeline Gwen.
Hell yeah. We could skip MJ too, because she's boring.
I mean, we have MJ right now.
Well, I mean the proper MJ.
We have MJ right now.
Well, yeah, no, we got the good MJ right now in the MCU, yes, but we don't need the other one. Best iteration is in that damn Spider-Man game, which, says something. But, yeah, dude, I'm hyped. Whatever they have in store, I'm pretty sure Spider-Man is going to literally have his own universe exist in a couple of years, so...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I assume from December onwards, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly.